Hello users, and welcome back to Above It All, the series in where I really can't take this anymore. So I haven't looked at all of the polls here. This is a Change Research CNBC coronavirus poll, and they do multiple little things, and I looked at the first two data sets, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to start the video now because my brain is going off. So, let's get this started. So this is apparently voters in swing states are sharply divided. So this is swing states, including my own swing state of North Carolina, which I told you is a swing state. I've had people tell me, like, oh, North Carolina. Oh, no, of course. Like I said, there's really only 5 states you need to worry about. Michigan, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Wisconsin, North Carolina, Florida. I think that was 5. I don't know how, honestly, though. I'm not sure how much Florida is going to play a part into this. But anyway, so this is, I'm just going to skip all the text and just look at the data sets here because, you know, I can give you a more. Can I, what is that? Oh, okay, interesting. I don't really think that matters. But anyway, second wave. Do you believe that there will be a second wave of coronavirus in the United States this year? So this is really one of those things where, again, this data, this proves that Republicans and Democrats, broadly speaking, live in 2 distinct universes. Like, okay, like, you know how the multiverse theory works? Anyone who's really a Republican, for the most part, literally believes that they are in an alternate universe. Like, the media that they follow, the narrative that they subscribe to, is literally a different universe. Like this is a universe where, like, Donald Trump is fighting the deep state, and how Donald Trump is fighting to bring people health care while he cuts health care. This is like it's bizarre. It's absolutely bizarre. This is a universe where, like, you know, Obamagate is a thing. Like, ooh, Obama did this and that and this, but I'm not going to tell you what this and that and this are. It's especially, again, we have around 30% of the population that does not believe in the germ theory of disease. In the year 2020, the 21st century, we have a shockingly high amount of people in this country that do not believe in washing their hands. They don't believe in soap. We have 30 to 40% of the population that does not believe in soap, ladies and gentlemen. Like, this is not good. This is bad news. Okay, so yes, definitely, 71% of Democrats think there will definitely be a second wave. And I would put myself in the independent category. You know, if I were to be polled here, that's what I would say. And I would put 37% of independents say that, which goes to show that independents aren't that intelligent. You know, like, people have this, like, people think that independents are, like, they see through the bullshit. Well, most of them are just Republican light, like, socially conservative, but, like, they don't want to kill themselves economically kind of people. You know what I mean? Like, it's just something you have to understand. Also, this is apparently in swing states exclusively. So, yes, probably is like the remaining 20% for Democrats. Republicans 14, independents 19. Maybe 50-50 chance. 41% Republicans, and then 28% independents, and then no, probably not, 29% Republican, and then, of course, 1% Democrat, which is hilarious. No, definitely not. 0% Democrats, everybody. And then you have 9 and 3 for Republican and Independent. And that's just one of those things where, again, Republicans are living in an alternate universe. Independents who are Republicans who just don't like to be called Republican because they think they're smarter if they're called independent. Like, they literally live in a different universe. Like this is stark right here. This is bizarre data. And then there's more. There's even more. This one is even more weird. Who gets the blame? Honestly, a stupid question, but we'll see the differences here. Donald Trump, 85%. I'm guessing this is like a multiple choice poll. States reopening their economies too soon, 65%. That should be 100%. Both of those should be 100%. Personally, the fact that that's not the case for Democrats is bizarre to me. But People not social distancing. That should also be 100%. But only 27% of Democrats. That's really weird. To me, personally, 8% businesses failing to take precautions. That's mostly a top-down thing given the way our society works. China, 2%. Scientists, 1. None of the above, 1. Democrats, 1. Okay. Now, for Republicans, it's almost completely flipped. Like, again, alternate. Not like different universes, but alternate. Like, opposing. Like, everything that's not true in one universe is completely true in the other, and that's why this is so bizarre. So China gets 43%, and notice that there's no stark majority on any of these for Republicans, and I find that super interesting. Whereas Democrats are like pretty much unanimously in favor of saying, yeah, Donald Trump is a fuckwit, and then a clear majority say that states reopening too soon is also an issue. But there is no majority in the Republican section, which shows that these people are just trying to pick their favorite conspiracy theory to, which one they like more. China, 43%. Democrats, 34%. Which, honestly, Democrats, I mean, Jesus Christ, there's a lot going on there. But, like, if it's a multiple choice, I don't mind putting Democrats there. But China? I don't know. I mean, it's just like, it depends. Like, China, I guess, is the original source. But, like, are we talking about the coronavirus pandemic globally, or are we talking about the coronavirus pandemic exclusive to the United States? Because in the United States, honestly, like, we're the United States government. We don't have dictation over what fucking the Prime Minister of China does, but we can dictate what we do. And therefore, in that sense, if we don't do anything, we can't just blame China because we failed to act. But then, none of the above gets 24%, which is like, oh, none of this is true, it's all Obama. And then people not social distancing, 19%, which is honestly, like, that's weird, because that's 20% of Republicans. That's strange. That's not very many, but that's still strangely high to me. Scientists, 11%. This, again, shows how anti-intellectual a big segment of Republicans are. Still, it's only 11%, but again, for Democrats, it's 1%, okay? So that's why it's super bizarre. States reopening their economies too soon, of course, that's 10%, which is, again, that's one of those things, 65 to 10 for Democrat versus Republican on that, and that's just, again, stark opposing realities that these people will live in. Businesses failing to take precautions, 9%. The businesses somehow can never be wrong, except right now, I guess. I don't know, more Republicans think that than Democrats, shockingly, but I mean, it's 1% difference. Donald Trump, 6%. It's interesting how 1% of Democrats blame Democrats and then 6% of Republicans blame Republicans. That's strange. And then given, of course, everything else. I don't know. So again, now we get to independents. Donald Trump, 36%. That's weird, but again, a majority of independents are basically just Republicans who think they're smarter if they're not Republicans. So states reopening their economies too soon, 34%. Not social distancing, 25%. That's my top 3 as well. So, like, again, like, Donald Trump, number 1, states, number 2, people not social distancing, number 3, and the rest is fucking gobbledygook. So none of the above, 20. China, 17. Democrats, 13. Businesses failing, 11. Scientists, 8. Again, bizarre stuff. Super weird, super bizarre stuff. Taking steps to respond. Now this is the thing where you get that individual responsibility angle. Now, one thing I want to say, Democrats are probably more likely to lie about these things because they think it makes them look cool. So I just want to be very serious about this. I know a lot of Democrats who say a lot of things in polls and then don't actually do these things. So these are probably, majority of the Democratic things are probably people just saying that but not actively paying attention. So I'm just throwing that out there. Either way, it's bizarre. Okay, so hand washing. Okay, so I said this before. We had about 30% of the country that doesn't believe in soap. Looks like it's maybe like 10% of the country that doesn't believe in soap, at least according to this poll. Still, shockingly large. About 10% of the country that does not believe in soap. That's bizarre to me. 96% of Democrats. That's a high number, but it's not high enough. It should be 100. 91, but and this is the thing. It's like hand washing is basic. Like, you should be washing your hands frequently before the pandemic. So, like, the people that are saying, I'm not even washing my hands, like, those people are just dumb as shit. Like, how the fuck did we even get their number? You know what I mean? Like, Jesus Christ. Engaging in, quote, social distancing. I love how that's in quotes. It's like very Trumpian. 96% of Democrats, again, 77% of independents, 62% of Republicans. So again, this is where people stop believing in the germ theory of disease. 40% of Republicans do not believe in the germ theory of disease. 20% of Republicans don't believe in soap. That's bizarre. like that should be the headline of this fucking poll. 40% of Republicans do not believe in germ theory of disease. New study finds. In fact, I'm going to make that my title. Hold up. I'm going to write that in a text file. Alright, so now that I've got my funniness written down for all the world to see, avoiding crowds, 94%, 71-49. Only half of Republicans have been avoiding crowds. Like, first of all, why, like, where are you going that there's so many different crowds? Like, what does that mean? Like, are you going to a concert? Like, I don't know if concerts are even allowed in a lot of these states. So, like, where is this crowd? I guess, like, bars? I don't know. Wearing a face mask in public, this is one of the most easy things in the world. 40%. This is, what again, one of those things where it's like, there are 56% of Republicans that do not believe in the fucking germ theory of disease. Okay? This is fucking crazy. Not going to restaurants and bars. 88%. 66%. 41%. What? Sheltering at home. This is a little bit more like of an upper class thing, like lower class people with less money. You know, they can't just go to the grocery store once, stock up on 6 months of food and put it on their freezer and stay home for 6 months. You know what I mean? A lot of people need to go out more frequently. So there's like a class divide here. Sheltering at home, 83% of Democrats, 52% of independents, and 32% of Republicans. That's just, ugh. Canceling trips, that should be everybody. That should be 100%. Like, where the fuck are you going? Like how are you even getting on a plane? How, like what the fuck? Like, trips? Like, what the fuck? Only 29%. Like, bitch, y'all are lying. None of these people were going on vacation. They're just, like, trying to act like they're cool as hell. Like, that's such a bizarre question. Preparing for a second wave. Hey, you can look at my background. I've got, like, a whole grocery store fucking on my floor. So I'm preparing for a second wave. I'm preparing for a fifth wave. You know, so count me in the 69%. I love 69%. But obviously, I would say I'm more of an independent than a Democrat. But I mean, 69%, I need to be in the 69%. So I'm going to switch back over to Democrat for this question. And the same for canceling trips. I'm a Democrat as far as those questions are concerned, just because 69%. 11%, 90% of Republicans do not believe in the germ theory of disease, everybody. Purchasing medical supplies, I haven't because they're expensive and I'd rather purchase food. That's just me, though. 60%, 35, 22. Working from home, 43. I'm working from home. You know what I'm saying? I'm a YouTuber, y'all. Hell yeah. 43, 36, 24. It's, again, one of those things where it's just purely class-based. You know, for people in more of an upper-class position, they're more easily available to work from home. People in lower-class positions are much less likely to be able to work from home. Delaying large purchases, 41, 37, 18. Without specificity, that's just really hard to even quantify. Storing food, again, I've got at least 6 months worth of food right now as far as I'm concerned. Like, if it's just me, if it's not my family, you know, if it's just me, I've got 6 months worth of food, so I'm good to go. Storing food, 41, 29, 17. However, again, that is more of a luxury thing. I have spent like $200 or $300 on food over the last like 2 months just stockpiling. And so, like, that's just kind of my thing. I've had some excess money because Bitcoin has gone up a little bit, so I've withdrawn some money to buy some food. That's been my thing. Making long-term plans to deal with closed schools, daycare, or workplaces. 30. I don't even, like, again, I don't really even know what that means. So, like, that's just so non-specific, it's hard to even understand what that means. Protecting businesses from liability. So this is the last one, I think. I love polls. I just love looking at data because it's so fascinating. Businesses should be protected from lawsuits from employees and customers who claim to have contracted coronavirus at their business, so they have less financial risk right now, versus employees and customers should be able to take businesses to court if they fail to take reasonable, obviously, businesses should be held liable 100% of the time, as well as the federal government. Both of them should be able to be sued in this instance, in my opinion. 10% of Democrats, 72% of Republicans want to protect. I love how this is basically opposite. I love how independents are 42 both ways, by the way. But, like, this is just basically completely opposite, whereas Democrats are slightly more convicted and slightly more unified in their beliefs in this instance. Like, Democrats basically say, like, yeah, you know, if a business bans face masks, they should be able to be sued by people that get the coronavirus. Like, there's a difference between negligence and actively trying to harm your employees and your customers, right? Like, covered this story last week where there's this restaurant that's literally banning face masks. Like, that is not negligence. That is just homicidal. That is actively murderous. The intent is to kill there. Not the intent might have the side effect of killing. No, the intent is to kill. No fluffy fucking meme words about it. There's no like, oh, well, you know, the sun was in my eye. Like, no, no, no. The intent is to kill in those businesses, and they should be held criminally liable, just like the Joe Biden campaign, just like Tom Perez and the DNC and everybody that said, oh yeah, pandemic primaries, great idea. I think Oregon just voted. What the fuck? I think they're mostly mail-in, but still all primaries should have been delayed up until we figure out what the hell is going on. That's just my opinion, though. And again, like, this is just, I don't know, like, it's this is one of those things where, again, it's just, it shows how we live in a different fucking reality. 60% of Republicans don't believe in the germ theory of disease. Like, again, if you were to fucking do these numbers, like, which one would you say is, like, germ theory of disease, right, states that microbial life forms can transmit from one human to another, and that's how disease and, like, that's how disease spreads. That's how sickness spreads. That's what viruses are, right? So, like, if 41% of people are, like, not going to restaurants and bars, like 41% of Republicans, I should say, that means 60% are still going to restaurants and bars. That means 60, like, and again, wearing a face mask in public, like, that's so basic. You know what I mean? Like, that's so basic, right? Like, if you were to mitigate and, like, quantify this data, would it be at least 50% of Republicans don't believe in the germ theory of disease? Like, what should my percentage be? Like, engaging in social distancing, I mean, a lot of people, like Republicans are more likely to say, I hate everybody. Like, you know what I mean? So I don't really take that much, you know, value from that. But, like, things like face masks, that's where you can identify whether or not someone believes in the germ theory of disease. And 44% of Republicans, like, not even a majority, believe in the fucking germ theory of disease. And it's just, like, when you really think about that, it's like, wow. A majority of Republicans don't believe in the germ theory of disease. 20% of Republicans don't believe in soap. We're fucked.